It's funny that face tracking on the on your
It's weird, right? Like,
that's with normal laptops don't have that.
yeah, I don't
It's
quite
funny
get
how
it.
it'll like you're sitting still, but it moves around. Yeah.
Yeah. I got
Yeah.
my team of cameramen following me around.
Let me just make sure I get this YouTube stuff right before you begin. Okay, I think it's going. What's weird is it's like preparing the live stream that got hung up. Yeah, let me double check. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Yeah, everyone. So thanks for joining us for the Check Cherry webinar. I am Judd, one of the co-founders of Check Cherry, and I've got Matt. Matt's going to do the driving and most of the talking here, and I'll interject. We're going to be covering the designs feature of Check Cherry, and so the short of it is, um, as you'll learn, this is kind of basically where you can give your clients an option to pick from a gallery of options, images, videos, that type of thing. And if you have questions, use the chat at any point in time, raise your hand. Basically, we just want to kind of show it off, get feedback, and talk about it, so to speak. So, Matt, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Judd. And like I say, or like Judd says, definitely feel free to have any questions as we go along. So, so I think designs are definitely one of the big, parts of Check Cherry that I think, I think it's a big problem that people have in terms of just kind of managing the artwork of their events. And, and anytime you're trying to collect information from a customer and make sure that things don't fall through the cracks as their event gets closer. I think that's a really, really important part of what Check Cherry does and, what we can hopefully try to help simplify on your side. So, um, the designs typically they're really there to solve two problems on the customer side. Number one, they're there to get your client's approval on any artwork that you have for them. And number two, if you have kind of a template, a template gallery, they really help a lot with presenting a template gallery and then letting them choose from those options. So with that being said, maybe what I'll do is just kind of start with the simplest possible, which is, hey, I've got a design, maybe, we'll kind of use PhotoBooth as our example throughout this, but, there's definitely other industries that use them. But I've got, a template that I need the customer to sign off on, so to speak. And so in order to do that, all of your designs for a specific customer are going to be from the booking page. So if I go to a customer's booking overview page and go to the designs tab, I can create a design. And the first question it's going to ask me is like, does the customer need to choose a design from a collection? And so I'll show you the collections a little bit more later. But for now, let's just say no. This is just the simplest possible case. And so I need you to approve this photo booth template. And so how that'll work, as an admin, I can simply upload my template, and that'll take just a moment. And now the customer is going to have a page like this. And so at this point, the customer hasn't been emailed anything. They haven't gotten a request to do anything. But when I'm ready, I can send them a request via email to approve that. So, if everything looks good, their name's good, maybe if there's some special notes I want to put in there, I can. But generally speaking, I'll hit send email. They'll click that link and come to a page like this where they'll again see the templates, be able to choose for them, and they'll have a few less options, of course. They won't see all of
Oh,
the
Matt, we can't see your screen, I guess. Can we,
oh
is that,
no,
I'm
no,
saying you can't see your screen.
oh, you can either, Jeff.
I can see it. Try again, one more time. I was seeing it fine.
Let's see here.
By the way, Sam Hogue is here. Tom says I see it. Sam is Check Cherry's new support person. And so, hi, Sam. She's here.
Hey Sam, thanks for joining. So hopefully we're good now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's showing now.
Okay,
Awesome.
great.
And so anyway, so once the customer gets that email, they come to this page and hopefully they approve, their name is spelled right and it has the colors they're looking for and they can approve it. If not, they can request a revision. They can say, no, do something else instead and submit that to you. And when that happens, you'll get an email back just kind of letting you know, hey, something else needs to happen. And hopefully they're specific and give you what you need. You can also add multiple artwork. So if you've got a couple of choices for them to choose from, you can of course do that as well. So, maybe I'll upload this first one.
Matt, if I can just interject right here.
Absolutely.
So kind of the idea is he's skipping the concept of where they select from a gallery of options and going right into what I would consider to be like, this is more, we'll talk
This
to
is
customers.
if you do your own custom design.
Yeah, they're like, hey, I do
Not-
my own custom templates for every client.
Mhm.
They don't start with like, hey, pick an option from a gallery, basically. So you can bypass that and just upload an artwork version for them to review, request a revision or approve. And when they do approve it, and as far as I would be concerned, that's the final version that's been approved for the booking/event. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So again, if you had like a couple of options and you just need them to approve, number one or number two, you again would upload those, send them via email, and then they can approve that artwork. And if everything looks good, it'll get marked as approved. So that's the simplest possible way, I think, to use the designs. You're doing full custom artwork every time. You maybe have some templates used internally, but you don't have your customers choose from them. You kind of talk to your customer, collect the information, and move from there. I think a lot more common is that you start with having the customer choose a template first. And so, and then once they choose a template, then you customize and you get that final approval. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So let's see what we have. I don't think I have any collections set up in here yet. No, I don't. So, so what I'm going to do to start is I'm going to upload create what's called a design collection, which is just a group of templates that a customer can choose from. And so instead of going under the individual booking, I'm going to go to manage and design collections, and I'm going to create a new collection. And this is just going to be a PhotoBooth templates collection. And what I'm going to do is, I can add those or upload these one at a time. I can select a file, create one called Autumn Leaves and do that. Much quicker, though, is to do a bulk upload. And with the bulk upload, I can just select a bunch of files. So I'm going to choose, everything in this directory. And we'll hit upload. And it'll take just a moment. And now I've got a collection that the customer can choose from. Once I create this new collection, you're going to see at the top of this kind of a prompt, letting you know, hey, none of your upcoming bookings contain this collection yet. And the reason for that is anytime a new booking comes in, basically what we do is we attach any design collections you have set up to that booking. But in this case, this didn't exist when those bookings came in. So, one easy solution is to just click add to bookings, and that's going to add it to all of your upcoming bookings. You can also do it manually, of course. So if I go back to this Sam H multi-day event and go to designs, I can add a design from here. And so now instead of on this question where it says, do I want the customer to choose a design from a collection? First off, now I have this PhotoBoothTemplates option to choose from. And I can just click attach design. And now my customer gets a list of templates to search for. They can see all the templates I uploaded. They can view details, and once they're ready, they can choose one. So, we'll take a look at the questions a little bit later, but you can also have different questions that you have the customer answer. And you may just want to keep it, I think our default is to just keep it kind of vague, tell us how we can personalize this design for you. Maybe I want, add corporate, ABC Corp in the template.
Yeah.
Um,
Instead of party time, put my name, whatever it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if you know the format of what those templates are going to look like, if they always have a first line and a second line and a third line and things like that, it's real common just to make that a question that you ask the customer. So like, what do you want in line 1? What do you want in line 2? Upload a logo, things like that. But now that the customer has chosen this template, you'll get an email letting you know they did that. And say you go in and you make the edits, you put in ABC Corp is the name in there. Now you can add an artwork and basically get that signature from them. So this again is kind of the same one. You would probably have a customized version just for them, but you would upload that artwork for them to approve. You can send it out via email, and then they can approve it when they're ready. And so I would say those are, that's typically the experience from the customer side. You can always, what you see on the admin side is going to be real close to what the customer sees. You can, if you want, log in as the customer to see exactly, using the impersonate feature, you can see exactly what they're going to see, but it's going to be real similar to what the admin sees.
Talk about those
Yeah.
steps up there. So there's the black areas where it's template chosen, upload artwork approved, right? So it's
Yeah. So as we kind of go through the process of each step along the way, we'll have these steps along the top here that'll kind of let you know where in the process you are. So let's say that, hey, I talked to the customer and they changed their minds. They called me up and, oh wait, we found an error. You can go in and unapprove that. And that's going to kind of kick it back a step, Now we're at the step where we've uploaded the artwork, but we still need the client to sign off on it. And then once they approve that, then that's going to get checked off again.
I've got a couple of questions in chat.
Yeah.
So Robert saying, how do you handle it when you have variations of a specific design? Most of our designs have variations. What is the best practice? And so I guess I would want to know what the variation would be, Robert. Like, is it like autumn color variations? Like instead of 4 pictures, is it 3 instead of,
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
go ahead.
So I might have, like on this autumn design, I might have a 2x6 strip version of it. I might have a portrait with a 1 picture. So it's a portrait template with a 1 picture in that portrait. And it's still the autumn design though. So I have, and in this case here, what I'm looking at on your screen would be considered for me a landscape with 4 landscape pictures. So that's like 3, and maybe I'll have 5 or 6. And so that's one of the things I'm struggling with is, do I just try to get my client to pick the design and not concentrate on which version, and then I just send them variations depending on what we're doing? Or is there a mechanism for us to have them all on there like I do, and pick 1 or 2 variations of it?
Now, wouldn't they just pick one option? Like if you add, let's say there's 3 that are very similar, one's, different layouts, but very similar autumnish, styles. Wouldn't they just pick the one they want and you run with it?
Well, most of our events will do, like we do roaming too. So an hour during cocktail for roaming is always going to be a one picture style,
Mm.
whether it's square, portrait, or landscape. And then later on, we'll have a different version of that design that might have multiple pictures in it, like the one you're showing. So would there be a better way to do that?
I think in that case, and maybe correct me if I'm misunderstanding, but each design collection can be applied to a booking or a package, if you will. And so if you have like your roamers as a service slash package, you can bring in that design collection and it only have, one image layouts.
Okay.
That makes
So
sense. Yeah.
create a design collection for
Yeah.
roaming
For
and
that
pull out
service.
all the versions that we would consider being approved
Yeah. Go,
for roaming.
yeah. Go to the
Yeah.
design
Okay.
collection.
Yeah, so let's go to, so if we go to the design collection, and actually that's a good seg to the categories and layouts. So the categories and layouts are a good way to, it doesn't matter much right now where I've got 4 templates, but if I've got 400 templates, it's going to be a nightmare for somebody to try to find it. So what you can do is kind of categorize these. And so I might have a category, and for categories, you can kind of think of those as tags, keywords, themes, things like that. So I would think, autumn would be a theme or would be a category. Christmas might be, or holiday or something like that might be a category. Similarly, you can have layouts. Layouts are going to be more like things like 2x6 or 2x4. And keep in mind, a lot of times these are going to be customer facing. So something that does make sense to the customer is helpful. But this could also be 1 photo or 2 photo, things like that. And so, kind of whatever you want to name them is fine. You can change the order and move them around and all that type of stuff. Um, all this.
Hey, that makes a lot of sense, but
Yeah.
would does CheckCherry allow us to have two different designs picked for an event?
Yes. Yeah, and I'll show you what that looks like. And
Thank
so,
you.
yeah, yeah. And so now that we have a couple of categories set up and layout set up, those are going to show up over on the left here. And a couple of ways that, again, I can go into each one and, check, oh, this is the autumn, this is whatever, holiday, etc. I can also bulk update. So if I kind of switch to more of this list view here, I can just check all of them or check this one and this one and or maybe the holiday is a good example. If I check these two, I can apply those both to the let's see, I can add category. Whoops, forgot to add it. So let's try that again. So if I select these two and add them to the holiday category, then they're both going to have that holiday tag. And then similarly, I can say, okay, this is this is a 1 photo layout, and this one's a 1 photo layout. And so let's apply the 1 photo layout to that. And so now those are both going to show up there. So if I go to my 1 photo layouts, I'll see just those. And so what I might want to do now is say, so right now, if I go back to my design collections, I've got one called PhotoBoothTemplates, and it's applying to all packages. What we can do under settings is we can kind of limit that. So instead of it applying to all packages, we can say, okay, this is just for my, my roamer packages, or, I'll check open air in this example. And so these are my open air designs. And similarly, I can go back to my overview page and I can duplicate that. So let's make a quick copy. And let's go ahead and go to the settings. And I can, call this something else. So I don't know what I have in here, mirror booth, obviously this would, not great examples, but I could call these my mirror booth designs. And now every time a new booking comes in, it's only going to get these mirror booth designs, and my open air are only going to get these open air designs. And then again, I can kind of go in and say, under, for each of those categories, how I want to organize that. And so that's typically how you would do it. So on my individual booking now, instead of having a single design, let's delete this and let's add one manually now. I can manually choose my mirror booth or open air. Let's do that. Or I can also just kind of, I think we have a reset option, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Where's that at?
If you click designs, and yeah.
And so I can also reset just to see what would get pulled in automatically. So if I click reset, apparently nothing. So, but if this were a mirror booth or an open air booth, 2 hours, and then I go back to my designs. Now it pulled in my open design or my open air templates. And so, so that's typically how you would do it. You can also have multiple designs on a single booking. So if for some reason you need to add a new design, on this one, I need both mirror and open air. That's fine. You can do that. And then what the customer is going to see is basically each of those designs and kind of what that process is. So you can have one design, and we'll kind of skip this overview page. But if, you can have 2 or 10 or, as many as you want of these. And basically what we'll do is we'll kind of track the status of each one. And, potentially you're going to have the customer choose a template and, assuming you want them to sign off on the final artwork, you can kind of go through this process for each one of those.
Matt, if I can just hop in. So
Absolutely.
This will happen automatically if, like, when the booking is created, whatever packages match for a design collection, it'll come in. So you could have like start screens and photo booth overlay as 2 options. If a booking or proposal has multiple packages, each package could have a separate design, all that stuff. We have another question. If I can,
I see. So there's a question in there about the photo booth templates. Let's come back to that in just.
Okay, cool. Tom, we're coming back to you.
Yeah, and so we'll so if we go back to our design overview page, design collections, just the one other thing I wanted to mention is the extra questions. That's where you can kind of go in and basically ask the customer anything you want them to fill out as they're choosing their design. So that can be, you can provide instructions, do X, Y, and Z. But that can also be things like just a text field, line 1,
line 2, yeah.
Yeah, things like that. It can also be colors. I need primary color. And if you do something like this, you can make it required or not. But if you choose that, they'll get a little color picker and they can, go in with that. You can do file upload. Where that can be useful is, say you want them to upload a logo or artwork or
usually the invitation too, yeah, like a wedding invitation.
Yeah. And then probably less common, but sometimes useful, things like checkboxes or drop downs where they can, you just have a number of choices for them to choose from. And so, and again, these can be configured on each collection. And so once you make these changes, any of my mirror booth designs are going to have these questions. So if you had different questions for different collections, you can do that.
I think really a best practice is, like, to make it easy for your client is to show only designs that are relevant as much as possible. So you were talking about there's only one photo on the roamer, so only show those. I've seen people have a design collection just for glam booth, whereas there's 6 to 10 black and white type layouts. And I think that that's, depends on how you package your services and all that, but if the package matches, it'll pull it in automatically. But
And
yeah.
definitely I think the duplicate's another place where the duplicate is really helpful. Once you kind of get your first one set up, maybe you do that and then you just make a duplicate rather than having to redo everything and recreate questions and things like that. Um, so now I think, unless you have anything else on that you can think of, Judd, it's probably a good time to talk about some of the template providers.
Mhm.
So there's a question Tom has that, I have over 500 templates from PhotoBoothTemplates.com. How can I add or connect to these? And so that's super common. Nobody wants to sit down and design 500 or 5,000 or whatever it is templates themselves. I would say the majority of people do use one of the template companies. So the way that works is under Manage, Business Settings, and then Integrations. That's where you can enable these different integrations. And so right now we support PhotoBooth Templates, PhotoBoothTemplates.com, PhotoBooth Talk, Bespoke Booth, PhotoBooth Graphics, and Templates Booth. We're totally open to integrating with others. So if there's somebody else you want us to integrate with, typically we need kind of the involvement of whoever it is. So, reach out to them, let them know you're interested. But since PhotoBooth Templates was the question, let's enable PhotoBooth Templates. And depending on which provider, they may have different things they want to collect from you. Maybe like an API key or maybe some kind of widget or something like that. But in the case of PhotoBooth Templates, super easy. You don't need to provide anything. We don't need an API key. It all works out of the box. And so I can enable that integration and you'll see it here. As you kind of go through there's, a little bit of just disclaimer about who they are and, what that means that, they might be able to see some of your, potentially information if it needs a submission needs to go through their server. But more important, it'll also kind of have a quick next steps, which is basically visit, manage, design collections in order to add one of these collections. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go to manage and then design collections. And so initially I just had this option, right? New design collection. Now I have another option here, add PhotoBooth Templates collection. And so if I choose that, I can see the different options they have. So they've got what they call a collection they call overlays and a collection they call screens. And so apparently I can't preview that. Well, we'll have to figure out what's going on there.
I love it, dude.
Yeah, of course. But we can import these overlays. And when I do that, again, I'll kind of, get that option. None of my upcoming bookings contain this collection. Do I want to add it? And then I can also see a breakdown of all the different templates that were imported. I can also go to my settings and different providers have different options that might be supported. So I can adjust the sorting. Sometimes maybe I want to sort those alphabetically. Maybe I want to do it by date added. I can decide, do I want to show them all of the layouts? Or kind of going back to Robert's earlier question, do I just want them to see maybe the square or maybe single portrait or things like that? And the specific options will vary a little bit based on just kind of how the template provider organizes their data and what they choose to make available to us. But with PhotoBoothTemplates.com, you can choose different layouts. You can choose different categories. So if you don't want them to see everything, you just want to limit it to, holiday or something for some reason, you can. And then they've also got what they call collections, which are landscape, square, or portrait. Where that's really helpful is this refers to, when you're shooting those photos. If you're shooting all your photos landscape, you might want to make sure that you're only letting the customer choose from landscape templates. And so once I make that change, I can also go to extra questions. We pull in kind of their default questions they use. but you're welcome to override, things like accent colors and, additional notes and all that kind of stuff. So you're welcome to change, but otherwise, that's a good default. And now if I go back and look at my my templates, I'm just seeing the landscape shot ones now. And one thing that I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to go ahead and add this to all of my upcoming bookings. And now if I go to one of my bookings, if I go back to Sam's and look at the designs, now I've got my new overlays collection there. The customer can come in, they can see all their choices, they can choose one, fill out the questions, keep colors the same, whatever selections they have. And again, when that happens, you'll get an email letting you know somebody chose it. And so you can also, if you do have multiple subscriptions or multiple providers you integrate with, you can enable more than one. So we'll go ahead and enable PhotoBooth Talk. They also don't have any settings you need to do. So we can enable that integration. And now if I go back to design collections, I've got my existing PhotoBoothTemplates collection, but I can add one of the PhotoBooth Talk collections as well. So maybe I want to do the glam booth here and add that to all of my bookings. So now when I go to a booking, in addition to everything else, I can see the glam booth as an option as well. So I think we just kind of alphabetize these. So depending on the alphabetical order, it might change a little bit. And if I need to go in and reset it or something, I can as well. Just kind of blow everything out, pull in the latest. I can do that as well. So in terms of, I don't know, just recommendations, who you use, things like that. Obviously we're not going to play favorites. We're happy to integrate with pretty much anybody. Some things to look at that I would say people often, do consider are, they all do have different subscriptions and prices, and some of them you can buy individually. Some of them, a lot of them have a discount if you do more of an ongoing subscription. And then there's things like what types of templates you need. Do you need, are you going to edit them in Photoshop versus Canva versus something else? So, I would definitely recommend, checking them out and seeing what looks like it'll be a good fit for your business. Or, of course, post on any of the Facebook groups or things like that as well. So, so I think that's about all I have on the third-party templates, unless you can think of anything.
No, I mean, they're not all the same in that like the integrations can be different. We kind of show what's, right. And so that's a consideration, but
yeah,
if you have somebody, let us know. If we're happy to integrate with people. Also different designs. And I'd be kind of curious what, I've seen people use the designs feature for obviously photo booth overlays, start screens, monograms, animated monograms, and then even like stuff like I feel like album covers or album, like for photo albums for people who like actually provide that as an add-on. But I'd be curious, from everybody, is there anything else you guys use the designs feature for? There's a reason we didn't call it, photo booth template chooser, feature, because other people do stuff. I guess I've even seen, maybe like kind of like not backdrops, but like flower arrangement type stuff. Yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I would say anything where, we're collecting the design. We have them choose a design after they've paid typically. So it's typically anything that is more, doesn't impact the price typically. We don't want to charge them extra if they choose something. So I would say anything that doesn't really affect the price would, where they're choosing from a collection, can be a good fit. It's also, it reminds me, Judd, we also do support, when you're uploading files, you can upload images, but we actually do support MP4 files. So if you have like a little animation type of thing, you can do that.
Yeah, the
I
start screens.
support MP3 files. So I think on audio guest books, I think there's
Mm.
something that some people have wanted to have some options there. So yeah, so if you do have other file types, there is a good chance that it'll work for that as well. And again, it's great, they can just see a big list of all the, animated, different things. So it can be helpful. Um, and
Does
then the
anybody?
other thing I did not mention on the third-party integrations is those are going to stay in sync. So with, somebody like PhotoBoothTemplates, every time they add a new design, you're going to get that automatically. You don't need to like come in and re-add it or things like that. We're keeping it in sync with them. So, depending on your settings here, if you've got that sorted by date added, that's going to mean that basically anytime a new item comes in, it's going to be there at the top. So worth keeping in mind that one of the advantages of having a subscription to the services as well.
Let's open up to some questions or feedback. Everything from, how do I do something? If something not clear, feel free to raise your hand or chat. Also, is there something that the designs feature could do better? That type of stuff. This feature's gone through several revisions over the years, and we don't get a ton of feedback on it. PhotoBoothTemplate states PBO Design Shop deprecated from Tom. So, Matt, you want to talk to that? The deprecated notice on PhotoBooth Talk. Tom must be in his account. And if there's a new integration, basically, Tom. So,
Yeah.
the before, so they were our first integration. What we would do is we would show an iframe of their website. And then there was some handshaking back and forth as to like what templates were selected and so on. But of course, not all the options were the same, all that stuff. So then we talked to Mike at PBO Design Shop, and we basically now we pull all of it in. So you get all of CheckCherry's awesome design features with all of their awesome designs, as opposed to kind of like more passing back and forth data. So if you're seeing that, chat with us, but you probably want to like remove that, delete that collection, and add a new one. So there should be a different one on there, Tom. And feel free to like open your mic up and talk with us too. But you can always chat, of course. But yeah, the new one's better.
Yeah, if I remember right, they've had a few different versions of their widget, and so
Well, we weren't
yeah,
passing
the
like he was
latest one,
asking.
yeah.
Matt, if you remember, they were asking for colors, and that was a long time ago. CheckCherry did not
Yeah.
even have a question for colors, and so we just told them, "Hey, don't even include it. We'll see if people, come back." But somebody saying I missed the start of the call. Yep, it will be. I will send a recording shortly after. Probably kind of depends on when this ends, but today or tomorrow you'll see a recording. It's on YouTube, our YouTube channel, CheckCherry. We're streaming it live on YouTube, which it makes it, and now I don't have to wait for the upload. Basically, we're uploading right now, so it's really convenient. So, yep, you'll get it if you RSVP'd. You'll get it, or check our YouTube live tab, and subscribe to us on YouTube, and you'll get notifications of stuff like this. And we'll probably be doing more of this. We had over 100 RSVPs for this one, which is awesome. That's really great. So.
Yeah. We got a couple more little quick tips and tricks that, might be helpful for people. So I know a common, pain point is just kind of figuring out like who still needs to, who has not chosen a design yet, or who am I waiting for action, for
Oh, I
them.
like this. This is good.
Yeah, so it's not really in the designs feature, but if you go to sales bookings, we've got a few filters on the bottom left that are really useful for just kind of seeing where people are. So, if I want to see all my customers with unselected templates, I can do that, or has pending artwork. And so that's going to kind of correspond to each of those statuses that we showed earlier on. So unselected template, they haven't even picked a template yet. Has pending artwork, that means it's kind of waiting on you, that you're the bottleneck, you need to upload something. And then unapproved is going back to the customer's kind of the bottleneck, you're waiting on them to do something. We do have, and check out the previous webinar if you want to learn more, but the latest version of the dashboard also does have a widget that's helpful. And it's the one called, what do we call it? I don't remember anymore. Bookings by status.
Awaiting action or something? No.
Bookings awaiting action. There we go. So if I add that one and preview, I'm going to be able to see all of, that's not going to just be designs, but the designs are a big part of it. And it'll show anybody that, has unselected designs, has pending artwork, has unapproved artwork, things like that. Similarly, it'll show some other things like waiting backdrops or questionnaires, things like that. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is just, how do you actually get the customer to do it? They go through the online booking and, they get to the end. It's real common that, now that they did that, they punt on doing the harder stuff. So it's real common, I would say, either in your customer confirmation email or in emails after the fact to just kind of prompt them like, hey, we're waiting on a template, let us know. So in order to do that, definitely chat with us if you have problems figuring it out. But basically under the automated messages, you can always either edit your booking confirmation directly and say something like, hey, we need you to pick a template here at our designs link, or you can create follow-up emails as well. And so I could do something like, let's see here. Something like send the customer a reminder a week after the booking if they haven't yet chosen a template. And so I can use that and, kind of have it pre-written out and I can save that. Or again, I can think of it more as like as the booking gets closer, I want to have, some reminders. And so I can do things like based on the scheduled date, a week before if they haven't chosen a template and send that to them. And these automated messages are real customizable. I mean, you can even send yourself one, send yourself a warning alert, hey, it's 2 days away and they didn't do it, so you can, even to yourself. So lots of options there. So
a couple of thoughts on the on basically best practices on the reminders is I've noticed that if you have an email request and there's only one thing for them to do, you're going to have a higher success rate than it's like, hey, here's a whole list of things you got to do, or here's my booking confirmation. It's nothing wrong with including the booking confirmation, but I think it's easy for people to assume it's just not important for them and they go on with their day. Whereas if it's just one ask in the email, I think it's more successful. And then also, if they don't do it in the second or third touch, from email, you probably want to find a different way to reach out to them. And, nagging via email tends not to work, if they're not going to do it, in like I say, 1 or 2 tries. I would find another way. Call them, text them. Hey, we selected a design for you. What do you think? Type thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. Based on our, recommendations, we think this would look good or something. So I think that's about all I can think of on design. So unless anybody has any questions or you have anything else, Judd? I think
No, and I don't think there's anything wrong with wrapping it up 15 minutes early.
Absolutely.
We needed to. So if anybody has any questions, let us know. You can chat right now or raise your hand and we'll open up the mics. As always, you can chat with us anytime you have questions. You'll get to know Sam better. Matt and I are still on support as well. So you'll still see us. And thanks for showing up. And Matt, great job. Thank you for showing us. And Robert is happy because he didn't know about all those extra questions. So I'm surprised, Robert. Robert really knows the system inside and out. And so there's just a lot. Yep, Tom, thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. And so our next webinar in 2 weeks, we're not doing one. The short of it is there's vacations coming up. And so it just doesn't work out so well So we'll be in touch with the next webinar idea, soon via email and through the usual communication channels. And you can always go to checkcherry.com/webinars and see stuff. Subscribe to us on YouTube and you'll get notifications when we go live. And you can always watch the recordings there too. But we'd like to see, we're continuing to do the RSVP stuff where you put in your email and name. And I think that's more, we really want to see what people are interested in, what's working, what's not. That's at least my perspective. I want to see what people want to see, what do you guys want? What do you guys want from us? And if you ever have feedback, chat with us, of course, from within your account, with webinar ideas, whatever it may be. Matt and I were going over a list of ideas, and there's plenty of them. So we got a lot of content. That's one great thing about our business is there's just so much to talk about. So thanks for coming, everybody, and have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Thanks, Ken.